Yo, what's up, y'all? It's Zaza Sports back with another video, and the NFL season just started. Last year, we had a whole ass Triple Crown winner in Jamar Chase. 3 years before that, we had Cooper Kupp. These guys led their team in receiving yards, receiving touchdowns, and receptions, and led the whole league in all 3 of those categories. Absolutely impressive. It's unprecedented when we get 2 Triple Crowns in this time period. But at the start of the new season, it got me thinking, who's going to be the leader in every major NFL stat category? And that's what this video is about today. Without further ado, welcome to who I think will be the leader in every major statistical category in the NFL this year. First, y'all heard my last video. Click on this video right here, nigga. But with that being said, let's get into this video. Let's go. First, we're gonna start off with rushing yards. Now, originally I wanted to say Derrick Henry because death, taxes, and Derrick Henry being top 3 in rushing yards almost every year. But at the beginning of the year, I said Ashton Jeanty will lead the league in rushing. I'm sticking to my motherfucking guns, bro. I believe Ashton Jeanty's a generational talent. His speed, his stamina, his power, his cutting ability, it's second to none that I've seen really on a college level. Most of the time, great college running backs usually translate into the NFL pretty well if they have a decent offensive line. His last season at Boise State is one of the greatest running back seasons ever. It's between that and literally Barry Sanders, who had 2,600 rushing yards and 30 plus rushing touchdowns. And overall, I think going with Derrick Henry's a little boring because he probably will lead the league in rushing this year, my nigga. I'm gonna predict Ashton Jeanty to be in the ballpark of 1,400 to 1,600 rushing yards. He's not really sharing carries with anybody on the Raiders. The Raiders don't really have any wide receivers besides Brock Bowers, so it's just gonna be a 2-man show in Las Vegas this year. So I'm gonna start off strong with saying Ashton Jeanty will lead the league in rushing. Our next category is domestic abuse charges. Tyreek Hill. Our next category now is rushing touchdowns, and this is where I picked Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry is one of the greatest running backs of all time. He will kill you with the yards he gets. He gets in the end zone at an exceptional rate. If he gets to your secondary, y'all are fucking Swiss cheese by that point. I've really never seen a cornerback make an open field tackle on this dude, and that's ridiculous because he's been playing for 10 plus years. Last year he had 1,900 yards and 17 rushing touchdowns, and if it wasn't for Saquon Barkley going absolutely nuclear last year, he'd be the consensus offensive player of the year and the consensus best running back in the league. Plus his week 1 performance where he had 2 rushing touchdowns and 160 plus yards. It's hard to say I think people are going to keep him out the end zone this year. He'll lead the league in rushing touchdowns. Our next category is receiving yards, and I'm picking Puka Nacua. Puka Nacua keeps putting up first team all-pro stats every season. He's getting better and better every season. And if we know anything about the Rams, they love targeting their wide receiver 1 a lot. Their wide receiver 1 will get the most touches you'll ever see. And with a talent like Puka Nacua and the fact he puts up elite production and the fact he had 130 yards in week 1, combine that with Sean McVay's play calling, combine that with Matthew Stafford, and I think we'll get a recipe for Puka Nacua being first team all-pro and leading the league in receiving yards this season, if he doesn't get injured. And not to mention, in 11 games last year, this dude already had 1,000 yards basically, having 990 and 3 touchdowns. You could argue after his rookie season where he literally put up 1,486 yards that he could have been first team all-pro last year as the best wide receiver in football, and he could have led the league in receiving last year. This year, I think he's going to put it together and have the best year of his career. And I really believe this dude's on Hall of Fame trajectory. But yeah, I love Puka Nacua. He's a very talented wide receiver, and I think he'll lead the league in receiving yards this year. Hot take, I think. Our next category is receiving touchdowns, and I think the leader will be Amon-Ra St. Brown. He's had 10 plus receiving touchdowns in the last 2 years. He's really the only receiving target on that Lions team. Yes, he's going to be sharing touches with Jahmyr Gibbs and Sam Laporta. But overall, Amon-Ra St. Brown is the best receiver on that team, and Jared Goff always throws at a high velocity and at a high rate. And I think they'll get to Amon-Ra St. Brown a lot this year. He had 12 touchdowns last year, 10 touchdowns the year before. Who knows? He could get 15 plus and lead the league, and that's what I'm predicting. It's boring saying Jamar Chase. It's boring saying Justin Jefferson because that's too obvious, nigga. He has 2 first team all-pros in a row, and I think this year will be the best year of his career, even though it's still a young one. But yep, this year I think Puka Nacua, a young wide receiver, will lead the league in receiving yards, and Amon-Ra St. Brown will lead the league in receiving touchdowns, and they'll both be first team all-pro. Our next category is who will be a literal rapist. Deshaun Watson. Now let's get into the only defensive category I have, and it's sacks, and I think it's going to be Myles Garrett. In my recent list, I said Myles Garrett was the second best player in the NFL, and I'll stand on that because he had 2 sacks this last week, led the league with Harold Landry. He's still decently young. He's in his prime. He's as great as they come for a pass rusher, being one of the most consistent pass rushers in NFL history already. One of the 10 greatest defensive ends of all time. One of the 5 greatest defensive ends of all time. I think he'll win Defensive Player of the Year, already notching 1 already. He's going to make his 7th All-Pro team this year. He's going to make his 5th first team All-Pro team this year. And I almost guarantee this dude will be the Defensive Player of the Year by the year's end. You could argue he's the best player in football. He's the best pass rusher in football. Him and TJ Watt. You could go back and forth. I value a really high volume, great pass rushing defensive end over an outside linebacker, so I'll always take Myles Garrett, but made a tomato. You feel me, my nigga? But with that being said, I believe Myles Garrett will lead the league in sacks this year. Our next category is biggest horse cock, Brock Purdy. And can we get a moment of silence for my boy? now our next category is passing yards. Justin Herbert. I think Justin Herbert will have a tremendous year if he stays healthy for all 16 games. He's one of the best quarterbacks in the league. One of the most underrated quarterbacks in the league. I don't think people actually realize how talented this guy is. Charger fans aren't just joking. Yes, it's a meme to shit on him because the amount of fucking what ifs to this nigga's name is freaking insane, bro. But at the end of the day, when it comes to statistics, he has one of the greatest starts to a quarterback's career ever. He's highly efficient, throwing 23 touchdowns to 3 interceptions last year. He's thrown over 4,500 yards twice, hell, throwing 5,000 yards in his second year in the NFL, getting MVP votes 2 times in his career, and beating and slicing the Chiefs defense last week. He's an absolutely tremendous player. He could be in MVP conversations if this Chargers team does good, at least as good as we are expecting, because this is a very good San Diego Chargers team. Damn, I really said San Diego. I'm turning into Unk. And yeah, I finally think his potential will be tapped in. He'll win a fucking playoff game this year. That's something he really needs badly. He'll finally lead the league in a stat category for once, and he'll finally live up to those first 2 years of hype he had behind him. And if he doesn't,
hey, my homeboy's girlfriend, please get pregnant right now. I want to be an uncle. I'm ready.
Our next category is who will cheat on his wife, even though she helped him literally fucking walk again. Ryan Shea. Our next category is passing touchdown, and I do believe Aaron Rodgers will lead the league in passing touchdowns this year. You might say this is controversial, but I'm feeling a little bit of Minnesota Vikings Brett Favre in this dude. He came out swinging. He looked like the Aaron Rodgers we all know and kind of love, but he did look like one of the most talented quarterbacks in the league. He's probably the most talented quarterback of all time. I got Patrick Mahomes. He's constantly in MVP discussion every year of his career that he was healthy and not on the freaking Jets. He has good receivers in the Steelers. He has a good organization around him that wasn't there when he was on the Jets. He has a decent enough head coach in Mike Tomlin, and he came out swinging last week. And honestly, I'm on the Aaron Rodgers hype train because there's been times in his career before where we thought he was done. He wasn't the quarterback he used to be. But man, his accuracy, his efficiency, his talent, his execution, it's almost second to none. That's something that can translate into any year of your career. You might lose arm strength, you might not be as mobile, but just like Tom Brady, how he executed at such a high, flawless level, he could play till the age of literally 45. And that's what I believe with Aaron Rodgers. He still has enough juice in his arm. He still can make some crazy throws, crazy plays at crazy angles, and I think he'll lead the league in passing touchdowns this year. And I think the Steelers will have one of the best offenses in the NFL. But the funny thing about this is Steelers fans are getting 1 year of an elite quarterback, then y'all niggas going back to poverty, bro. But that's gonna be the end of this video. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch y'all boys later. This is Zaza Sports.